All right, what's up, guys? We are one day away from the start of WrestleMania 41. Thought it would be fun to do what we usually do around PLEs, and that's talk about things a bit more in a live setting. So we're going to do that here today on the channel. Appreciate you guys joining in as always. We'll let some of you hop in here. Hope you've enjoyed the prediction videos we did Saturday and Sunday. You can check those out on the channel. We did, again, our picks for every single match that's currently been listed. We'll find out tonight on SmackDown for Randy Orton. We'll get an official opponent, but that is the plan here as we start to look at these matches, figure out what's going to go on at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. Appreciate you guys jumping in. Hop on in, share your thoughts. We're going to talk about the rumors that are surrounding everything right now. We've got a lot of them out there, which you guys know makes sense. It's WrestleMania season. So we're going to talk about it. And see what all we can come up with as to what may happen both on Saturday and Sunday when it comes to some of the biggest rumors out there. The Rock, of course, is the one that you guys know I talked about in the previous video, looking at everything with what could happen with John Cena versus Cody Rhodes on night 2. And again, will The Rock be there? There seems to be a lot of sort of momentum, it seems. If you look at some of the reports out there, it does seem like there is a bigger expectation now that The Rock will be there, and how can he not be there, right? I think that's the big question. Like, how could you do this and not have The Rock there based on what happened in Elimination Chamber? So my guess is if you're making the predictions right now, you've got to think that The Rock will be on the show. It's just a matter of what is he going to do, and I think that's really what it comes down to. So, to me, like I said, I mean, we mentioned it, right? That's been some of the issue with getting to WrestleMania is that The Rock has just not been available. And so when you've had these John Cena, Cody Rhodes things, you just not having The Rock there is just a big hole is right there. And you're just like, wait a second, that's part of the story based on what John Cena did at Elimination Chamber with the heel turn on Cody Rhodes. So you got to have The Rock to pay it off. Sounds like Travis Scott's going to be there. Hopefully he doesn't slap the hell out of Cody again. But that seems to be the setup here. So I would think we're going to see The Rock at some point this weekend at WrestleMania. I think it'd be a huge disappointment if he wasn't there, just based on his part in the story. But you guys let me know what you think about The Rock. We'll talk more about him over the next half hour as we do this live show and kind of share more thoughts on that. But as always, jump in with your questions, any comments. See a lot of you guys starting to hop in here. So again, let me know what you're thinking heading into the show, any rumors you've seen out there. What do you think's going to happen? I like John's question here. What about Big E? We did talk about the possibility. Could you get a Big E appearance coming up at WrestleMania 41? I mentioned in the New Day versus War Raiders tag team match, it seemed like one that was, maybe didn't actually expect to be on the card. You thought maybe that may be a Raw after WrestleMania, something like that, maybe, but didn't happen. It is on the card. And for that reason, you've got to think there is at least some possibility, right, that Big E could play a role here, not physically, from a match standpoint, I wouldn't think, because I just don't think we're there yet with Big E. But still, right? It's going to be pretty interesting to see what role he may play. And John throwing out, hey, get a little GM Big E involved. So I think any way you can get Big E involved more on WWE television, even with the injury, I'm all for it. And so he's still got to eventually get his revenge on Kofi and Xavier, right? For what happened in that big segment we had on Raw several months ago. We don't know if it's going to be from a match standpoint, until he's cleared or something like that. But you've got to think that getting Big E in the mix here some way is not a bad idea. And I don't know if it's going to happen at WrestleMania, but you can see the path to get there, right? Just based on the fact that it is the biggest show of the year. And if you want to somehow keep New Day from winning the titles, having Big E involved, I think is an interesting way to do it. Without question. So, there you go. I like this idea too here. There you go. Jaden, hey, Big E comes back. We all think he's coming back, all right, it's the same Big E we've been seeing, but no. Big E joins him. How about that? Maybe Big E finally comes around and realizes that Kofi and Xavier are right. And you know what? These guys were just doing what they should have done. Now, that'd be an interesting dynamic there, wouldn't it? So, I like that idea. I wouldn't hate that at all. So, just whatever way you need to kind of reheat the New Day, I think. Because remember, coming out of that, man, they were on fire coming out of that thing with Big E on Raw. And then, from there, it's just kind of been, just been going along trying to get to the next point. And obviously that's one of the challenges when you don't have someone like Big E that's available to actually wrestle right now. And so that's just one of the things that, is one of the challenges of this whole story that they're doing. But hey, I'd be interested in that. So yeah, I agree, Jay, and I think that'd be interesting for sure. All right, let's talk about some other stuff, and I'll get to some of the other questions you guys have, and we'll talk about this one too because I think this is part of the rumor sort of section of things. Who's going to face Randy Orton? And I've seen a lot of stuff out there about, okay, with Orton, is it as simple like as an open challenge? I know WWE, I think it was WWE.com, YouTube something, did an exclusive interview with Orton maybe yesterday. And it was basically Orton saying, hey, I'm going to find out my opponent on SmackDown. And if not, Nick Aldis is eating another RKO. So will we know the official opponent for Orton on SmackDown? And I think that's one way to do it. The other way to do it, right, is just make it an open challenge where there's more mystery involved. You go into either Saturday or Sunday, whatever night that match is on, and you wait and see, is it, as Dante says here, is it someone like Rusev, right? Do we finally get the return of Rusev Day? Which Big E, by the way, to tie that in, Big E kind of confirmed that. There was a story or something, I think it came out yesterday with Big E saying as much. And we all knew that was kind of the case, that it seems like he's going to be coming back. So do you just leave it open-ended like that, where you have this big return of someone like that? Could it be him? Could it be Aleister Black? Like, there are all sorts of options that you can work with. Like, do you put Rey Fenix out there? He just came in. You don't really have a WrestleMania spot for him yet. Do you give him an opportunity? All these different things. And I know some people seem to think it's as simple as Solo. And, we could see one of those situations where maybe it's announced tonight on SmackDown that Solo is the person, and somehow we don't actually get the match, right? Where it's like, okay, and I can see why they'd want to give Solo an opportunity, right? I mean, you guys understand. Like, come on. As much as we can pick on Solo or whatever about his role as, the leader of the bloodline and all that stuff, like, he probably, giving him an opportunity to be on a WrestleMania card is probably something they'd like to do. So if it is Orton versus Solo, maybe that's the route they go, but then maybe one of the big returns plays into the match somehow. There's all kinds of ways you can do it. But I think, to me, the most intriguing element would just be doing an open challenge and just waiting to see, right? Rather than announcing it tonight on SmackDown, or it could be as simple as Solo being the guy. If not, then maybe it is one of the returning people. Possibly it's one of the choices. So that's something that I'm curious to see with that. All right, let's look here. I know you guys are talking about Brock, so we can talk about Brock. It's one of the rumors, the names out there. Robert, longtime watcher of the channel, always appreciate him jumping in on these. Anything about Brock? I don't think he's coming back, but yeah, the rumors seemingly are just always out there with Brock. I just don't see it. It may be something that could happen. I know John's kind of tying it in here, but I don't see it just yet. That would probably surprise me a little bit, because remember, like, how long we've been talking about this with Brock, right? All these different things, and it seems like every WrestleMania season it's a possibility. Anytime we get these big shows, but we've also talked about, just all the other stuff with Brock, outside the ring and everything with Vince and all this stuff. And so it's just kind of, you don't know. So I would probably be more surprised than not if Brock came back right now. But as we always say in wrestling, you never say never, right? But I don't know that that's going to factor into this WrestleMania there. But all right, let's look at some other stuff here. I know you guys are talking about the build to this WrestleMania, and some of you guys not exactly thrilled with it. I would say you're not the only ones. We've certainly seen that a lot out there. But yeah, I do think there have been some things that the build is not maybe what it was last year, but that doesn't mean it can't still deliver, right? Once we get to tomorrow and Sunday. So we'll see how it all comes together on that there. But to kind of look at some other stuff out there. Yeah, I mean, people are talking about, Randy versus Solo, Randy versus Nick Aldis. We didn't really bring that up, but yeah, I mean, I think that's another intriguing option. It seemed like, sure, if Orton does not get his opponent right, and all of a sudden he RKO's Nick Aldis again, Orton doesn't have an opponent, maybe he comes out at WrestleMania, and then Aldis is the one that answers the challenge. You could do it that way, just based on the fact that Orton's kind of taken aim at Aldis and pissed at him for, I don't know why necessarily. It's not Aldis' fault that Kevin Owens suffered a pretty serious neck injury. So, but yeah, I think that's one of the top options too. That's a good call on that for sure. So, all right, now let's talk about one. Yeah, Robert, not allowed to say that name. I didn't say the full name, Robert, so therefore that technically counts, right? I didn't say his full name. So there you go. All right, so we got to talk about Stone Cold, and I'm going to bring up something for you guys that I think is interesting. Talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin. Remember when we did this last year for WrestleMania 40? The longtime watchers of the channel will know. We were all in on Austin being there last year. They had the whole the truck out there that had Cena and Austin on it with The Rock beating Cody Rhodes in the parking lot and all this other stuff. And we were all in on this idea that it was going to be Austin being the person in the Undertaker spot to take out The Rock at the end of the match. It didn't happen. Will it happen this year? Well, there's obviously a lot of buzz and rumors out there because we know Austin's going to be there tonight for the Hall of Fame thing when they do the Immortal Moment induction for Austin and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. So we know he's going to be in town, right? We wasn't at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, but we know he's there in Las Vegas. And do they come to an agreement that Austin somehow maybe plays a role in the main event match, especially as we said, if The Rock is going to somehow also be involved? Yeah, I think that's certainly an interesting one. I'm going to pull this up because I think this is something that people are talking about this morning, and you guys may have seen it already. So here it is on Instagram. This is what John Cena shared not that long ago on Instagram. Stone Cold, see you Sunday. Of course, he's got the Allegiant Stadium thing over a picture of Stone Cold Steve Austin here. I like Chris Van Vliet's response there in the GIF. But so, Cena's always been someone who's played up this kind of stuff. We know Cena, ultimate troll sometimes when it comes to his social media, especially Instagram and such. But I think that, look, there's a lot of things you can connect together and see why they would somehow get Austin involved at WrestleMania. I mean, technically, right, they do the, what is it? They do, what am I thinking of? The Hall of Fame thing. So they bring everyone out on the stage to announce the Hall of Fame people on whatever night that is, on either Saturday or Sunday. So I would assume Austin's going to be out there for that, right? You would think they're going to do that. But will he actually play a role in any of the matches, which we know the only one that would make the most sense would be the main event on Sunday with Cody and Cena if The Rock is somehow there. Now, that's a possibility. And I think, too, that's where, you tie this in with Austin. It really doesn't matter who's going to win, right? You guys know I made my prediction. If you haven't watched it yet, probably like a lot of people, I picked Cena to win because I said I think the story's changed a little bit. 3 months ago, I wouldn't have picked Cena to win because I would have said, and you guys know I was talking about, I was like, hey, Cena, do something where you've got Cena just kind of dragging it out throughout the year, and then you wait till that final end of the run, and then you have him go for the championship there to see if he can win it. Not necessarily have to be his last match, but see if he wins it there. But now the story's changed to where really the finale for Cena kind of has to be him coming back to the good side, right? And so it's not really, it is about the championship, but maybe it's not as much about the championship, even though setting the record would be significant. But it's more about, can Cena kind of regain his path, right? And go out on top with everyone cheering him and all this other stuff. Can that actually happen? So I think this question here, what's going to happen if he does lose, right? Well, then you just keep sort of chasing it. But I think it's like one of these where you've kind of got to strike right now on the Cena thing. And I just think it's a lot more interesting in terms of the direction if Cena wins the title. I don't know how I feel, maybe about Cena going out and wrestling 25-minute matches a lot. And I don't know if that's going to be what they do. But still, I mean, I feel like if you have Cena win, it opens up a lot more interesting possibilities where Cena winning, you got Orton matches, you got Punk matches, you got a rematch with Cody. You got a lot of stuff you can do with Cena. If Cody wins, you just do the rematch again soon? And what's different next time around? Because you're going to have all your big players here. Like we said, if The Rock's here and all that, what can you do next time that's that much different than what you're going to do here? And to me, Cody be just fine without the title right now. Cena winning gives you a lot more, I think, entertainment value. Because remember, this is we're in April now. December is not that long away, right? We're 8 months away from the end of John Cena's in-ring run here. So you've still got, like we said, big matches sitting out there for Cena on this retirement tour. And I think having him with the championship is way more appealing than just having those matches, right? If it's just John Cena versus Randy Orton, okay, we've seen that before. But this John Cena heel version coming off a win in the title, over Cody and all this other stuff, having The Rock by his side and everything like that. That's way more interesting. Same with Punk, right? If Punk and Cena, like Punk's chasing Cena for that championship, trying to win the title back for the first time since he came back to WWE, that's a lot more appealing than just having, Cena without the championship versus Punk. So I kind of think Cena has to win here. And I feel like that's where, when we tie in these rumors of The Rock and maybe Austin and all that, is Austin going to get involved if Cody doesn't win? That's the kind of situation you look at. So I don't know. That's something where they've certainly got options, but you guys know what I think on that. I just think Cena needs to win here. And maybe they don't think that. Maybe they're going to go with the long play of just not having him win just yet. And maybe there's a better idea down the road. But I think for right now, doesn't seem to really know which way we're going to go here. But by the way, Dante brought up, the truck. I'm telling you, we were all in on the truck, weren't we? We had a lot of fun with that, and think, hey, that was kind of the way it was going to go, but it didn't happen. So, Austin has talked about some things about this year. He's not come out and said as much about, he's going to be there. Of course he'll be there, but meaning, maybe the involvement he's going to have. But it does seem like he's much more open to it this year than he was last year, which we talked about. It was there was a rumor came out afterwards last year that was really financial, all that. The reason why, I don't know if that whatever happened with why he wasn't involved, but you would think he was at least, considered to be involved last year. It made too much sense, right? For all the reasons we talked about. So, by the way, keep in mind the Hall of Fame tonight. That is a late start. For some of you guys, it may not be a late start, but if you're like, on the East Coast in the States or anything like that, it is a late start for the Hall of Fame tonight. That thing's going to be going well into the early morning hours tonight. So if you're in the States, so we'll see what happens there. But we will know that Austin and Bret Hart will both be on hand for that. Triple H, of course, the headliner. Excited to see Lex Luger getting his rightful spot in the Hall of Fame. The natural disasters. Also, big fan of the Earthquake, John Tenta over the years, and Michelle McCool as well. Also, then you got the legacy wing as well with guys in there. So there you have it on that. Yeah, by the way, Roman, talking about the direction maybe for Roman. Yeah, he's never gotten his rematch, and I don't know either. I don't know if we get back to Roman versus Cody again. Maybe you could do that at some point in the future. Roman versus Cena. That could be interesting, maybe with the Rock dynamic involved. But I think we're gonna find out if that happens there. Appreciate some of you, everyone jumping in, new to the chat. Always appreciate new people jumping in here, and we have a lot of fun here on the channel. You guys know I mostly just do the videos a couple times a week, but hey, we like doing live stuff as well, closer to these big events. So plan is right now, we'll be doing a live show tomorrow night after WrestleMania 41 Saturday, and on Sunday. May not be immediately after the show, may wait a little bit, but it'll be a late evening, as we know, for everyone with that. So hope you guys turn on your notifications and jump in on that. So Alexander, there's a chance we can hear the glass in the Cena versus Cody match. We wanted to hear the glass last year. Will we hear it this year? We're going to find out. There's got to be interference, right? There's got to be a lot of people interfering in this match. I don't know if it'll be the level of last year. I don't know if you can top last year, but it's not going to be a straight up match between Cody and Cena. I'd be shocked if that's the case. So, if Lex Luger gets up and he walks, my goodness, that will be an all timer right there. Just was always a huge Lex Luger fan. So excited to see this guy get his rightful spot in the Hall of Fame. So that is worth staying up for. Even if you're not, maybe excited about some of the other inductees, which I think you should be. It's a good class, but Luger to me is the one that I'm most intrigued by. Of course, Triple H there'll be a lot coming out of that, but I think Luger, pretty awesome. So the Hall of Fame, you guys have to remind me. I don't know where that's airing. Is it on Peacock? I would assume it is, right? I would think I'm sure it's streaming live there. Peacock, Netflix. If you're outside the States, I would assume that's the case. So, JM here, good comment. Have a hard time seeing Cena winning 17 as a heel, and that's a good point because I think it is. It's much different than we maybe would have envisioned, and that's where, if you're going to tell that story of, all right, he's already won the title and he's still got 8 months to go in this final run. You got to tell that story a much different way than you would have previously, right? Like It's not Cena sort of going out again on top as the cheered winner of this huge, record and all this, passing Ric Flair and all that. It's heel John Cena doing it. So it's a good point. I don't think it's a given. Like I mentioned, for all the reasons I picked Cena to win, I don't think it's a given by any means. I think there's certainly a path where having Cody win makes sense to be able to get to eventually Cena winning it. But I'm just like, I don't know. Right now, everything they did at Elimination Chamber, because otherwise, to me, it's like you could have just held off, right? You could have done the turn at WrestleMania, and maybe that had a lot more impact where you come out of it kind of doing it that way. But still, at some point, I think we know, I believe we know that Cena is going to win this thing. We think he's going to get 17, but maybe Triple H, who's always been a big Ric Flair fan, maybe he's not going to give him 17. So we'll find out. So yeah, maybe a little WrestleMania 39 callback for Cody, perhaps a little heartbreaker for him. So yeah, and agreed there, JM too. Yeah, if he is going to win 17, doing it at WrestleMania seems to make the most sense. So. All right, I'm going to try to catch up on some of your comments. Remember, too, you can leave a super chat to make sure I do get to your comments that you have there. We got a lot of them rolling in now, but I will try to be able to jump in here on some of these. Let's see. I'm going to grab one from earlier. Dominique asks here, will Bianca be turning heel soon? You can tell Bianca's already starting to get to that level. She's starting to bring out what I wouldn't necessarily call a heel side. I would call a realism sort of side, right? That's what WWE leans into when they come with some of these heels sometimes these days. It's like the things that Bianca is saying are not untrue. Like, she's absolutely right about Rhea kind of forcing her way into this match. She doesn't belong in the match. And you can understand why Bianca feels that way because she's the one that earned the spot, right? And so I think that is, definitely something they're going to play with. And that's why I picked Bianca to win. I think there's a lot more interest in her winning because I think you tie in the Jade and Naomi stuff and all that, and then you can still get to Bianca versus Rhea. There's a lot of ways I think coming out of it having Bianca win makes the most sense. But yeah, I would like to see EO get kind of that opportunity to retain, which, yeah, I think you see Robert saying here, yeah. But I think Bianca winning, there's a lot more fuel with that one, in my opinion, if she's the champion going forward. So, yeah, I'm kind of with that idea on that. All right, some other stuff here from you guys. And again, we'll talk more about other possibilities. If you're just jumping in, we did talk about some of the rumors earlier on about, whether The Rock could return, or we could see Stone Cold Steve Austin getting involved. What about Big E? Could we get Rusev, Aleister Black? Like all these names that are out there. Could any of them be involved here with this? So, yeah, everyone talking about the 1 a.m. Eastern start time for the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it's going to be something. So, here's a question from Glenn. What are the chances Ric Flair, we haven't talked about him as one of the rumored names, interferes in the Cody Cena match? So I'm going to tell you, I think the chance is 0 because the talk out there has been Flair is still under contract with AEW. And I think that means that while he could technically be at the show, I don't know that there is a single chance that he's going to actually be on the show, if that makes sense. So just because, and it's probably like similar to Sting, right? People thought that Sting would be the person that may induct Lex Luger into the Hall of Fame. Didn't happen. It was DDP, which obviously is okay too, given everything that DDP has done for Luger. But Sting is a contracted AEW talent. So, they're probably not excited about the idea of having Sting on any WWE program, where he's going to get chance and come back and all this other stuff. It's a bad scenario if you're AEW in that spot. So I don't think Flair's going to be on there. If he still does have the contract with AEW, I just don't think there's any chance. Even though I would assume he may be there, but I don't know if he can be on the screen. I think that's probably the deal there. So, all right, let's look at some other stuff. You guys, there he is. So checking back in. I know it's been a while since we've done these. I know the videos, the frequency slowed down a little bit, guys. I told you. I had a newborn in, October. And so since then, the video frequency has slowed down a little bit. Life with a toddler, I will tell you. That has certainly been one of the reasons. We haven't done as many videos, but hey, I always enjoy when we get a chance to do these. Yeah, hey, doing well. I appreciate that. Everyone's ready for Mania. Hope you are as well. So I hope you join in again tomorrow night after we do the live show after WrestleMania, Saturday and on Sunday. That's the plan right now. So yeah, jump on back in. We'll chat. catch up on some stuff. And yeah, hope you're doing well also. So, okay, let's look at some other stuff. Let's see. I know everyone's talking about, let me try to catch up on some of these things. By the way, too, if you're in here, got 100 plus of you right now, which I appreciate you guys jumping in. Hit that like button. Always helps out the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you're jumping in for the first time. Turn on your notifications, as I said, to make sure you don't miss anything we've got going on here on the channel throughout WrestleMania this weekend and all that. By the way, I want to make this suggestion, too. I don't know if I've kind of polled you guys on this before, but if you haven't watched NXT, I've gotten into NXT a lot more lately, and I think it's really a lot of fun right now. And I think Stand and Deliver, which is, here's the thing. If you're watching the full Hall of Fame tonight / tomorrow morning, Stand and Deliver starts like what, probably 7 or 8 hours later, because it's an early start as well in Vegas. So check out Stand and Deliver. I think it's going to be a fun show. I think there's a lot of fun, exciting sort of people that are going to be coming up soon from NXT, which I think we'll see pretty soon after WrestleMania. So whether it's, people like Trick Williams, obviously Roxanne Perez, and I mean, just there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, the main event, Obafemi defending against Trick and Javon Evans, that's going to be a great 3-way match. I think there's just, you got Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, all kinds of good stuff, I think, on that card as well. So, all right. Yeah. Caleb, here we go. Just wait till the little one hits 2. A whole new meaning to the Attitude Era. Yeah, the terrible twos. Isn't that right, Caleb? So there you go. That's it. But yeah, we'll see how that goes, right? So that's fun. Yeah, I think NXT's been on a great run, no question. So hope you guys check it out. But oh, that's cool, Josh. I didn't know that. So you've been going to NXT. That's awesome. Yeah, don't know everyone, but they're great. Look, I've been in and out on NXT for a while, but over the past little bit, I've been all the way kind of tapped into it because I think that it's been a really, really fun show. And I think like the women's division too has just been on fire. You've got a great match there too. I mean, that 4-way women's match, I would highly suggest you guys check that out. Stephanie Vekurz versus Julia, Jordan Grace, and Jada Parker. Jada Parker, to me, is the person. You guys know sometimes I'm like, that's my person. Like, we look at all these different superstars in WWE. Jada Parker I think she's going to be tremendous once she gets to the main roster. So, yeah, a lot of fun talent there. Everybody's been talking about the 4-way here. Speaking of 4-way matches, the Intercontinental Championship match. We made our predictions in the prediction video. Yeah, I picked Dominic to win. But I keep going back and forth on this match because I think there's so many ways you could do this, as I said in the preview video. I just think there's a lot of compelling ways. Like any combination to me of whoever wins, like it could be any one of the 4, and I think you've got something fun to work with coming out of it. It seems like Braun losing makes, the logical approach because, this is a way, as I said, to beat Braun without him getting pinned. And I think you probably want to do that. I mean, we keep saying, right? Like Braun's, I'm not saying he's going to main event WrestleMania 42 or anything, but like Braun he's as ready to get up there with the top stars, right? I mean, he's just, what he's doing right now is tremendous. And you don't have to rush that because Braun is still young, but like he doesn't need the Intercontinental Championship anymore. Guy is just he's just on another level. And so I think having Dominic win, and with Liv and Dominic all having the gold, as I said, what does Balor do at that point? I think that's intriguing. But also, if Balor wins, then it's kind of like he's going to shove that in the face of Liv and Dominic. And that eventually maybe leads to that new member that just keeps getting teased and teased and teased, right? So I think that's something that could be a possibility too with that 4-way. But should be a great match. I really do think it's going to be fantastic. So another one, I think, on the card. The build's been different, but hey, I don't mind the match. Like the match, I think, will wind up being really good for sure. So Alexander asks here, the rumor of Roman not having much time left. So Roman, by the way, Roman's not the only one. So this morning, you guys know I do a little writing too for the Takedown on SI. So that's a Sports Illustrated site. And this morning, like CM Punk did the interview, Jey Uso did an interview. Everybody talking about like retirement and all this other stuff. CM Punk mentioned that WWE's trying to get him to sign a new 5-year contract, but he's not yet sure. He's like, hey, I'm getting older. I don't know about a 5-year deal, right? Of course, for an in-ring capacity, I would think Punk's going to work in WWE once he's out of the ring. He's going to be someone that's heavily involved, whether that's eventually, being an NXT guy, something like that. Punk's got a long future, you would think, with the company outside the ring too. But Jey Uso even said he's only got a couple years left, he thinks, in terms of like, hey, the wear and tear on his body and all this other stuff. Now, remember, it's the WWE schedule of now versus old. Just because you say you've only got a couple years left in WWE as an active in-ring competitor doesn't mean you can't do the Roman schedule, right? Where it's like, hey, Roman comes back, has his matches, then he's away for a bit. This is a period where you're not working, 300 shows a year, right? The way they used to be back in the 80s or whatever. And so, so Roman, not surprising. I mean, I think Roman is, I'm not saying he's going to be The Rock, right? But he's destined for Hollywood. Like, we just know that. He's already doing stuff there. And I think at this point, it's just going to be one where I totally feel like Roman is getting closer and closer to being that. And then maybe it's not Roman comes back for 3 or 4 matches a year. Maybe it's Roman comes back for 1 match a year, 2 matches a year, right? We're getting closer to that level. So appreciate him while you can. Acknowledge the tribal chief while we can, because he's not going to be wrestling 10 plus times a year, probably moving forward. That may be hard to, maybe a little hard to envision at this point in his career. So, but let's look here at everybody else's comments here on stuff that's going to happen. Here you go. Robert question here, or comment on Jade and Naomi. Yeah, Jade and Naomi, I said, I'd like to see Naomi get a little more out of that, but they're probably not going to beat Jade one-on-one at WrestleMania. I think they're saving up the big Jade Bianca match, and that's why I think Bianca winning. I don't know that they get to that SummerSlam. That may be, like I said, one of the slow burns that WWE absolutely doesn't mind doing these days. It may be Bianca wins the title on, this weekend, and then 1 year from now, it's Bianca versus Jade. Like that may be it. So that certainly could be a possibility. And Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte, it's another one where, I mean, come on, like it's heated up in a way that we didn't expect, but I'm more intrigued in the match now than I was 3 weeks ago. So maybe that will play out in some way there for sure. And I think Charlotte. I just, for some reason, I think Charlotte's going to win because I think they're going to like the heat if Charlotte does win. But I wouldn't mind seeing Tiffany retain either there. So. All right, so there you go. Yep, there you go. So Josh ran into the Tribal Princess, Universal Studio. Yeah, awesome. LFG. Yeah. Again, I think I would suggest that to you guys. We don't really cover the NXT stuff. I may do something on Stand and Deliver just to, I know it's not, a lot of people may not watch it, but I'm really excited for that show. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, there's a lot of good up and coming talent. If you haven't had a chance to check them out, definitely do that, because I think the NXT roster right now, and like I mentioned, it's a lot of the roster, but the women's division to me is the most intriguing, because you got some of those, women's stars who are ready to move up now, and you've just got to see how many of those that they're going to find space for after WrestleMania, because we know that always happens afterwards. So I'm curious to see how it plays out. Sean's going to go with Aleister Black as the opponent for Randy Orton. That'd be a hard hitting match, no question about it. For sure. Caleb brings up a good question here, and I was thinking about this the other day, actually. We haven't talked about it, but Sami Zayn, he's not on the card here. And I'm thinking, what role would Sami play here? Wouldn't we think that if you're tying in Sami, which I know he's just coming off the Kevin Owens stuff, but, somehow if Jey wins the championship, you've got to have Sami there, right? Because you can tie Sami's history with Gunther into it. And I'm not saying that Sami interferes to help Jey win the title, because I think if Jay's going to win the championship, he needs to do it on his own. But then again, Jimmy could also come back, and maybe it's, Jimmy and Jey and Sami are the ones kind of standing in the ring after Jey triumphs and wins the title. That's certainly a possibility. But I would think you want Sami on the screen for that, right? If Jay's going to get this big moment, if he wins, not saying Sami has to help him, but having Sami there, I think, would be significant. And I feel like that's probably a direction you could go, because again, he's a Triple H guy, right? We know that. So I think having Sami at the show involved is not a bad idea. So we'll see what role he does play there for sure. So, all right, what else are we going to have here from you guys? Kaiser. We kind of got Kaiser too. Do you think Kaiser's got to be in that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal tonight, right? He could be one of the possible winners. I could see Kaiser getting an opportunity there if that happens. But it's a good point. Maybe Kaiser getting involved with that Jey Gunther match as well. Big Jim, Big Jim, coming out to save Jey, and that could certainly be the the visual you get there, and then you could eventually get into some, Usos versus Gunther and Kaiser type stuff. And, we said they'd been teasing for a while there that eventual Gunther Kaiser sort of split, which it's WWE. Everybody, no matter whether you're partners, family members, or whatever, there's always going to be a tease that you're going to break up. But you could certainly see that as a possibility too, coming out of the show, right? Because I don't think Gunther's just going to lose the title and just sit back and do nothing. He's going to probably try to come back for that championship, and that's where maybe you get these kind of guys involved, do some tag team matches and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Robert. By the way, I did see that. So they did they have the set reveal. I knew that was coming out today. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I do need to check that out. So looks a bit like WrestleMania 39. Yeah, it's Vegas. I'm sure there's a lot of cool things they can do with it, right? To kind of play into the Vegas theme or whatever. So I still wish, and I know they'll never kind of do it again. Well, I mean, they've done it some, but I still wish it was like back in the day, right? Where every single set was just unique. Every pay-per-view / PLE was just, you had a different set, very unique. Always kind of remember back, like, the 2000, 2001, whatever, like it's just, everything was different. 98, the Attitude Era, basically, is a lot of good sets. So, all right, let's see what else we've got here. G-Swole. G-Swole's here. Do you think WrestleMania 41 would be worth the drive from California to Las Vegas to attend a WrestleMania 41 kickback watch private party? Hey, I mean, sure, have some fun with it if you want to do that. I would say, that's depends on, I guess, where you're at in California. But yeah, I haven't made that drive myself, but have gone from Las Vegas to California and other, kind of other instances. And so I know people do that all the time. So should be fun. I mean, I know some people that are out there already. And yeah, I mean, they're having a great time. And again, it's not even, WrestleMania is not even there yet. Like, it's a wild week, having some fun out there. So yeah, great stuff for sure. All right. Corey says, need a bunch of surprises because the card and the buildup has been horrible. Well, again, Corey, I don't think you're the only one who thinks that. I don't, know necessarily that it's probably exactly what we expected. I think some of these matches, we probably did not think we're going to be on the card, but that's what we always say. Like, you never know when it comes to, like, what is the effect of The Rock not wrestling, the Kevin Owens injury, that kind of threw some things in a different direction. Like, were there things with women's division with Becky Lynch and that kind of stuff maybe being involved? Like, there's so many things like that you never know kind of when that domino started to get us to this direction, right? And the Cena heel turn, like how long ago was that actually planned out? They can tell us a certain time frame or whatever, but how long was that since they had that? And so it just caused a lot of things down the card. So again, I think the event will deliver. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. They're going to have good matches. They just gotta, tell good stories coming out of it. I think that's it. So. All right, so people are asking about the triple threat. So I did make my prediction on that, and I picked Seth Rollins. I think that he's the one that probably not just needs it the most. I think he's the one that probably deserves it the most when you really think about it, because I just feel like it's the most interesting story to tell, whether Paul Heyman is with him at WrestleMania coming out of it or that happens after WrestleMania. I think having Rollins win and everything he said, right? We brought up all the stuff about how he saved Heyman 2 times, basically. He could have hit him with the chair. He could have gave him the stomp. He didn't do it either time. He talked about best for business. Where have we heard that line before, right? The business is going to die if Rollins doesn't win. So he's saying kind of all of these subliminal messages for Paul Heyman to where maybe Heyman's like, you know what? Seth's right. This whole bickering and bitching between Reigns and Punk, I'm done with it. And somehow, that ties into I just tend to think that's the direction we're headed here. And like I said, you don't even necessarily have to go all the way with it just yet, where Paul just absolutely joins Rollins, plain as day. But if it's in the main event slot, something big's got to happen, right? Could certainly see that being a possibility. So for sure. All right, let's see what else we've got to here. I know some guys have got some other questions. I'm going to keep jumping into them. Again, we kind of talked, we joined just for the rumors. We talked about some of those early on, but we kind of tied it into some of the questions you guys have had. Alexander, did you see the documentary about WrestleMania 9? So I still haven't watched that yet. But yeah, WrestleMania 9 was, as you guys know, if even if were late to the party in terms of being a wrestling fan, weren't around for that, like, it's always been looked at as possibly the worst WrestleMania ever by some people. I think there's some others that are contenders for that, but I don't hate it as much as others do. I think the reason why people just completely despise it is for the way it finished with Hogan walking out with the championship and, not Brett. Like, I think that's kind of what it comes down to. And that certainly is a reason why you could hate that show, because the finish just was not what it should have been. But I still haven't watched it. I'm going to get around to WrestleMania. It's just been obviously a busy time watching, all the other stuff out there. I've been actually catching up on AEW more these days. I used to not. There was a while there where that wasn't the case. I was watching AEW way behind. Now I'm pretty much caught up every week. So it's just, yeah, like there's so much stuff out there to watch. And but yeah, like I plan on watching that after WrestleMania, because I think it'll be a lot of fun to go back and get some of the comments and see if Hulk Hogan tells the truth uh, about anything. So that may be something to certainly look at. But all right, let's see what else we've got here with this. But yeah, the set was cool. Agree, Josh. The set, I mean, that's what I talk about, the uniqueness, right? Give me another WrestleMania 9, not just basically the finish. Give me the feel, the uniqueness of that whole setting and doing that thing outdoors, and like just, with that whole Caesar's Palace type theme. Like that was pretty cool. So all right, Samuel Wrestling TV here. Who do you think costs Cody the title? Well, that's like we said, your biggest person to do so probably is The Rock, right? I don't think Travis Scott is going to cost Cody the championship. I don't think you're maybe building towards a Cody versus Travis Scott match, although I assume it's possible. Hopefully he's as good as Bad Bunny, but I just think it's got to be The Rock playing into this story, right? And you just feel like that is the direction you go in. You can also, something to think about, and this is, I don't think it's going to happen, but it is kind of a wild card pick. Drew McIntyre, I think, is someone to keep an eye on here. The Rock just came out yesterday with his new Project Rock collection, the training stuff. McIntyre was featured in that big sort of video for Project Rock. It's McIntyre lifting weights, showing kind of a career highlights and that kind of stuff. And we know Rock and McIntyre have been tied together. We thought he may be the person that sold his soul to the Rock at Elimination Chamber, all this stuff. So could you do that where somehow McIntyre gets involved? That sets you on a course for Cody versus McIntyre, and then you turn your attention to Cena Orton or something like that coming out of it. There's a lot of ways you go there, but Rock is obviously number one. McIntyre to me is the wild card pick, because I do think McIntyre is going to beat Damian Priest. It's going to happen. I'd be shocked if McIntyre doesn't win that match. So yeah, I do think that's probably going to be the case. So all right, let's see what else we've got here. Zoe is going to go. Brock Lesnar comes back, destroys Roman, Punk, and Rollins, and takes Paul back. Yeah, can we clear up the fact that Punk was not the first Paul Heyman guy? It was clearly Lesnar. Yeah, that was a while ago that Heyman and Lesnar were involved. Because what, Lesnar came in, was that 01, 02? So yeah, I remember actually watching Lesnar in person at a WWE show in 2002, and I was just thinking at the time, like, how is there anyone out there built like this guy? He was just incredible. You knew early on this guy was going to be just unlike anyone else we'd ever seen, and it turned out to be this way. So, yeah, total sports talk here. So pumped for the weekend. Yeah, I mean, so many scenarios, and that's the thing. Even though the build's probably not been everyone's favorite, like the way things can play out though from here, I think is the reason to be excited. Sure, I can certainly nitpick a lot of things that I maybe haven't liked about the build or whatever, but still, I think that what happens now, like now is when if you think the build has not been what it should have been, here's where you pay it off, right? And here's where, all right, give me something to where the weight was worth it on some of this stuff. And I think that's what it comes down to. So we'll see what happens there. All right, what else we got here? Yeah, I see a lot of people who are not exactly thrilled with the idea of Charlotte beating Tiffany. I'm not saying I am either. I did make that prediction, but I just think from WWE's perspective, Charlotte winning maybe gives them something else, sort of dynamic to work with. Tiffany wins it back, something like that. So, geez, well, how do you feel about Triple H bashing the fans for not being hyped for WrestleMania 41? I'll tell you, this is probably the most interesting WWE media cycle I can ever remember for a WrestleMania. Because there have certainly been some comments out there that have drawn a lot of backlash, whether we're talking about Triple H's comments on, the fans or the online critics. You've had a lot of people weighing in like on political stuff, which I know has certainly not been everyone's favorite thing. So yeah, the WWE superstars slash whoever, they have not held back in their media interviews this week. They've been asked some hard questions and they've answered them. And so credit them for that. But yeah, there have been a lot of reaction to this week when it comes to the interview cycles and all that. Yeah, Triple H did not seem thrilled with some of his responses, but hey, this man's sitting on top of the world right now, going to the Hall of Fame tonight. Most profitable WWE we've ever seen. So he probably doesn't really care what anyone else thinks. So yeah, David asks, what about Drew main eventing another WrestleMania? You've got to think that's going to be in the cards for Drew at some point. No doubt. I mean, like we said, he had the year of his career last year. The way that he and Punk, I mean, it was the best feud all year. And I think that's why everyone was a little disappointed that Priest was his opponent. And I'm not even knocking Priest. It's just like, hey, when you come off a career year like that, like McIntyre does feel like he should be in that top spot. But that's why I think, listen, if Cody wins, then I think Drew McIntyre is one of your obvious potential choices to maybe, have a chance to dethrone Cody, even though Cena, you would think eventually has to do it if that's their plan. But no doubt, I mean, McIntyre's got to be in there somewhere. So, hey, shout out to Manny here. Just subbed. Appreciate that, Manny. Hope people have done that as well. Yeah, the WrestleMania 41 stage. Everyone was just talking about it. I haven't seen it yet, but as soon as I sign off here in a few minutes, I'm going to go check it out because it sounds like it's pretty awesome. I'm actually going to try to pull up some photos if I can find it right now to see what it kind of looks like. But yeah, I'm glad they hopefully went all in on it. Yeah, I always like, as I said, the uniqueness of the WrestleMania stages and all this other stuff. So yeah, it does look like WWE's got the video out here. And okay, so let's see if we can pull this up here. Okay, so Pat McAfee shared it on his show. I see this now. So it does look pretty awesome. Okay, that's you guys weren't wrong about that. So here, I'm going to pull this up actually on here, and we'll see what it looks like on the actual channel here. You guys can see it if you haven't already. So if you don't want to be spoiled by the WrestleMania stage, don't look now because I'm about to share it here on the screen. So all right, let's pull this up here from Wrestle Features on Twitter. Let me see if I can make this a little bit larger. I think I can. So there we go. So you can, I mean, again, it looks fantastic. Like, look at that. Pat McAfee revealed it on the show on ESPN. So you can kind of see some of the still cool stuff there. Yeah, it's got kind of the hotel theme to it, it seems. Yeah, pretty cool visual there. Looks like of the stage. And I'll watch the video and get a little bit more of the full effect of it. But there you go for you guys that haven't seen it yet. So, Manny has some hype for the Hall of Fame tonight. I'm hyped for the Hall of Fame. I wish it wasn't so late. But yes, the Hall of Fame will be good. Probably be some good speeches. Triple H's will be interesting. Like I said, I'm most excited for Luger. I think, Luger, I think, is going to be the best one in my opinion. I'm just excited to see. Hopefully they give him some time. Give Luger some time to talk because, I think that guy, everything he's been through, my goodness. So, all right. Geez, well, guess you're not real since you're talking from the internet. Yeah, hey, listen, I'm a fan, but I do try to look at it a little bit different too sometimes. So if I criticize things, I apologize to Mr. H for doing that. So, yeah. But all right, guys, we're going to hop off in a couple minutes. So this is your 2-minute warning here. And anything else you want to talk about, any other questions, comments you have, let me know in the comments. Yeah, as some of you guys are jumping on the NXT train here. Yeah, the Triple Threat Championship match. I agree, Chewy. I think it's going to be fantastic. That main event with Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans, I think it's going to be awesome. I think, again, a lot of those matches on that show stand and deliver. An early start time. So if you've recovered from the Hall of Fame at 4 a.m. in the morning, then you've got stand and deliver starting at, what is it? I think it's like 10 a.m. Vegas time. So, yeah, boy, WWE has figured out, you know what? We're not going to let you guys sleep for about 5 days. That's the plan when it comes to WrestleMania season now. So, yeah, but I think the NXT show, give that a watch. I'm excited about that one. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah. Hey, shout out to Double A here. Finally caught another live. Yeah, we haven't been doing these as much, but I'd like to get back into doing more of these. I always say that, but I really want to because these are much more exciting for me than the videos because I actually get to interact with you guys on the fly, just talk wrestling. This is what I do with my friends. So this is what I enjoy the most about doing this channel. So, all right. Manny's going to go with Javon Evans getting the W tonight tomorrow in the NXT Championship match. So we'll see. But yeah, that's true. If we're complaining about the Hall of Fame, but it's true. If you're in the UK, the PLEs start at midnight, so we can't be complaining too much about that. So yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. All right, Caleb, I'll go with my prediction here on the way out. Most likely return at WrestleMania. I think give me Rusev. Give me Rusev back in the mix. I think he's got to be there. I'm going to go with that one. I think The Rock is kind of a given, so I don't even know if I would list that one. But I think Rusev somehow finds his way there somewhere, whether it's wrestling Orton, whether it's getting involved somewhere else. It's the biggest show of the year. If you want to bring him back with a big emphasis, do it at WrestleMania. So I think that's going to be it. So yeah, Stephanie McCurry, I think I know she holds the title now, and I guess she could lose the championship at Stand and Deliver, but she is also going to be someone fast track her to the main roster. You don't want to get lost in the shuffle, so I don't hate the fact that she's kind of the star right now in NXT, but she's really good. So yeah, yeah, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, the interactions on the lives I think are a lot more fun. So I mean, listen, I'd love to do this every day if I could. I mean, we could have some fun talking about the news of the day and all this kind of stuff in wrestling. I'd love to do that every day if you guys would be up for it. But we'll just kind of have to see how the schedule works coming out of WrestleMania season. So, geez, well, I'll be honest with you. There's one of my predictions I did not put in the WrestleMania predictions video. Do I think Triple H is on the live right now? I don't. I don't think Triple H is watching this right now. But you never know, right? You never know. I don't think so. If we will know if he makes a comment in one of his next interviews about how this one guy on YouTube said something about this or that, then we'll know maybe it was this one. So we'll find out. But all right, Corey's gonna big prediction. Stone Cold's gonna confront The Rock this weekend. I'd love it. I'd love to see it. A year late, but I'd love to see it. I wish it would have happened last year, but that's okay. And yeah, remember too, we got SmackDown tonight. Who knows what's going to happen? We know Cena's going to be back on there. You got the tag team championship match, the Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns. You got a 6-woman tag team match. You got the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Who's going to win that? Maybe that's where you get, maybe it's a return for the Andre winner. Perhaps one of these people comes back to win that. You don't know. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, guys, I'm going to hop off. I appreciate you guys jumping in. Really, I always enjoy these conversations and chats with you guys. Would love to do this a lot more. So if you guys would support me doing this more frequently during the week, where we just talk about anything that's going on that day, even if it's not necessarily around a show or whatever, talk about the news of the day, all this other stuff. Hey, I'd love to do it. So if you're up for it, give me a hell yeah in the chat. How about in the comments right now? If you're up for that, it's a little Stone Cold for you guys. So if you'd like to see more of that, let me know in the chat. And again, be sure to turn on your notifications so we go live tomorrow night, after WrestleMania Saturday, after WrestleMania Sunday. I do have a couple things, little writing things for the writing job I do, as I said, for the takedown on SI after the show. So maybe a few minutes afterwards. But yeah, we plan to go live, talk about the show, whatever happens Saturday night and Sunday night. So, all right, you guys are all in. They're coming in the chat. So yes, happy WrestleMania weekend to everybody. Appreciate you guys joining as always, and we'll talk soon here at Wrestling Reaction.